Hello, well I'm going to talk about the new game Luck and Logic by Bushiroad. As you can see, this is the starter deck Brave Logic, starring Chloe Maxwell, the rather feisty character from the anime. However, in this deck, she's not paired up with Valkyrie, no, she's paired up with Daiga, I believe it is, a kind of tiger guy. So as you can see, this little sheet here gives you a rough overview of the deck, and when you flip it over, it becomes your playmat. So up in the top left hand corner is where you put any paradox zones that are still in effect. Down here is where you put your stock. Across the bottom, your levels, your 6 gate areas, your deck, your discard, and then sort of your combat zone. So that is basically the playmat. The decks themselves are split into two. You have your main deck with the white back and your black deck for your gates. Now I've just used a load of words which, if you've never played the game, aren't going to mean much to you. So luckily the starter decks do come with the rulebook. As you can see, you get a picture of Chloe there in her transformed get-up. As it says here, the aim of the game is to destroy 6 enemy gates. However, you can also win by making a player have to put 2 cards in the kind of outer play zone, which you do normally when you kind of get yourself decked. You put a card out there, and then if you have to put a card out again, at that point you then lose. Deck construction is fairly simple. It's only cards with a white back in your main deck, 4 copies of any card, and 8 paradoxes must be included. Gate decks, only cards with black backs, and only 2 copies of cards with the similar number. So if you want to use, I don't know, let's call it Mountain number 3 and Forest number 3, that's fine. But you couldn't do 2 Mountain number 3 and 2 Forest number 3 because they both share the number 3. So that's the first bit. Then the actual flow of the game, load of stuff about preparing and doing stuff. The key bit is you start with 5 cards and you can mulligan by putting the cards you don't want to the bottom of your deck and then draw in replacements. No shuffling. Anyway, you then actually get to play the game and judge your logic. So, stand phase, i.e. untap all your cards. Draw phase. Now this is weird. You draw 2 cards and then put a card into your stock zone. And you need stock for various special abilities. Level phase, you're allowed to put a card from your hand into your level zone. The reason you want to do that is there are some cards that can only be played if you have cards in your level zone. So for example, if you've got a level 3 character, you have to have 3 cards in your level phase put down in your level zone. One thing that's a bit weird, if you're the first player, you put your card face down. And I believe there is some rule about if your card is face down, it doesn't count towards some cards that trigger off. Like if you've got 3 yellow cards, but if you've got 2 face-up yellow cards and 1 face-down yellow card, it counts as 2 face-up yellow cards, therefore you don't have 3. The main phase then starts. Mobilize a member, i.e. put a card from your hand into play. Move a member, so you can freely move members around from gate to gate. Perform a trance, which is a once per turn action. This is where you combine the 2 types of cards you have, basically logistics and foreigners, into something called a transunion. You can perform a luck drive, which is basically pay 3 from your stock to draw a card. You can activate a member's action, or you can perform a logic drive. And that's explained in this little breakout arrow that goes off to the other page. You can then also choose to do a battle phase, and when that's all done, you can go into the end phase. So that then moves us on to the next bit of this rulebook here, where it talks about mobilizing. So a member can be mobilized if its level is less than or equal to the number of cards in your level zone and you pay any costs. Some cards do have a cost associated with them, and you have to pay that cost from your stock zone. To mobilise a transunion, you must have a card with the same colour or world designated in your level zone. So to actually do a transunion, let's say you're trying to do a transunion with a yellow ability card, then you need a yellow card in your level zone. You can move them around at any stage, but you can't change their state. So if they're rested, i.e. tapped, you can't untap them. Trance, so you can upgrade people, as it shows you here. Take this person and this person, combine them to make this person, and these two cards go up to make the actual person, so they end up with a soul, as it's known, which are these two extra cards, which give them a boost of about 2,000 per for the two cards, 1,000 each. Your luck drive, as it says, put 3 cards into your discard, basically, and draw a card. A logic drive, it's a special ability, this little icon here, typically on a special card. It does make the point that a card without soul won't be able to do its logic drive. It basically gives you a special ability. You can actually have 4 players out, let's say, who could do a logic drive. You're only actually allowed to activate 1 of them. Then it talks about battle, where you tap someone to say they're attacking. They can attack from any circle to any other circle. However, to destroy a gate, you have to actually go through the front gate. So you'll notice on the play mat that you've got these 3 front gates and these 3 back gates. And basically, once you've declared your attacker, you can do what's known as the Intercept Step, which is where cards slip into the battle zone to give some support. You can also do some logic definition steps, where you can actually add cards into the battle. This is based on the limit of the card, and then you work out who's won. And if you're the attacker and you lose, nothing happens. If you're the attacker and you win, you destroy the card you're attacking, which is either a person blocking or a gate. And if if you're the defender and you lose, then all those characters that were defending get destroyed. What else have we got on this card? Yes, so there's a couple of extra bits here, talking about level boosts and paradox logic and the flow of battle. Paradox logics, that's a weird thing. You have special cards, at least, 8 of them, not at least, 8 of them in total in your deck. These change the rules, can give you some nice power-ups. However, it converts the battle from what's known as a power battle to an aura battle. So, as you can see, the game is actually quite simple. It's got lots of little twiddly bits that make it sound quite tricksy. So, I haven't actually talked about the cards. So, as you can see, here's an example card. This is your level. This is how many cards you need to have in your level zone to play this card. This is the cost, currently 0. So, if there was a cost there, you'd have to pay that. This bit's an extra little fiddy bit. This is the size of your card. So this card would have to be deployed on 2 gates. Now they can be deployed vertically or horizontally. So if I just show you that, so here you go. This card could not sit on that. That's 1 gate. So it'd either have to sit on 2 gates like that, or if I preferred 2 gates like that. You can't sit diagonally. It's got to be orthogonal, so up and down, left and right. Yes, here, this is your, typically if you use it to support a battle, you're going to be using this. This is officially known as your logic, so that's when you're aiding a battle. Name of the card, the power of the card, typically Japanese with 10,000 power, basically it's 10. A limit, i.e. how many cards you can commit to a battle. An aurora strength, on this card it's 1. Any special effect, and a quote plus your pretty picture. And then at the bottom here you've got the world, and you also notice there's a little kind of green strip as well on this card. The other type of card you've got, besides members, are tactics, which are kind of like instant effect cards that you can play to mix up a battle, and then the aforementioned paradox cards. Now the actual members, as you can see, this is what's known as a trance union. You can tell that also by this funky icon. But if we actually move across here, you'll notice that there are actually 3 types of members. There's logistics, foreigners, and trance unions. Now, if you've watched the anime, this will make a lot more sense. The logistics are basically your humans. They have a special kind of digital card that they absorb into themselves, and these affect like your personality. So, for example, if you actually lose your logic, which are represented by these kind of digital cards, you could actually lose an aspect of yourself. And so, for example, you could lose your ability to laugh if you lost one of your logic cards. However, they have a special form of logic that allows them to combine with foreigners to create transunions. Now, foreigners are people who've come through these gates you're fighting over. In the anime, a gate is open from another dimension. Creatures have come through that are evil, but also creatures that are good. In fact, in the actual anime, it's like Athena, Valkyrie, and the name Venus, and they are goodies, and then they're set up against various weird kind of demonic creatures, including Lucifer himself. And basically, when these two combine, they become this super being known as a transunion, which I guess gives you the best of both human and alien. So that's the deck's basically composition. However, you've also got gate cards. Now, gate cards, at times you want them to be destroyed because they actually give you a power-up when they're destroyed. So that's actually can be quite good for you. However, if you lose 6 of them, then you're dead. It then goes on to talk about setting up the playmat and everything. So I guess what I'm going to do is quickly give you a quick rundown against an imaginary player. So be right back. Right, well, I've decided to set up a pretend game here. So I've got my 6 gates. You actually have 10 though, so these 4 I don't get to see what they are. They're out the game for now. And then I draw my 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's say I've decided to mulligan some. So these 2 cards are really good, but they're far too powerful. Let's chuck them to the bottom of my deck. Let me draw 2 more cards. And I'm ready to go. So, first things first, I draw 2 cards and put something in my stock. And let's say I decide I'm going to put, let's have a look. Yeah, let's put this card face down. And then I'm going to deploy a couple of characters out to protect my gates. Okay, so that's me done. Let's say I decide not to attack this turn. So the other player goes, and let's say for whatever reason they do attack, they destroy this gate. And when this gate's destroyed, take the top card of your deck and put it into your stock zone. And then if I've got lots of destroyed gates, I can kind of tap down the opponent's cards. So anyway, it's back to me. So I draw my 2 cards. I then put 1 in the stock. And then I decide what to do. So first things first, I'm getting quite a lot of Chloe's here, sorry. So let's pop her into my level zone, and I need to do some stuff. So let's say this character decides to attack. We then go into a bit where we can do intercept. Let's say there is no intercept. I destroy a gate. I then attack with this one, and let's say it destroys a gate as well. Okay, so that's the end of my turn. Enemy, the other player goes, destroys this gate at the back, and when it's destroyed, put the top 3 cards into your stock zone. So I've got loads of cards here. And then let's say they attack this card, destroy this card, and then attack this other gate and destroy that gate as well. They're doing very well. And I put the top 3 cards in my stock zone again. So I've got loads of cards in my stock zone now. So I can do all sorts of crazy power-ups once I get a character in play who can actually do something with that. So anyway, I untap my cards. I draw 2 more cards, put another card in my stock zone. And now I need to start doing something. So let's chuck another card into my level zone. So I've got 3 levels now. So I can now do a transunion with this Chloe here. So I actually need to get Chloe into play. So here you go. When this member enters the field, choose one of your territory members and it gains plus 1,000. And when this member enters your field, choose an opponent's member with 3,000 on left to bounce. So let's say I play this, it bounces a card back to my opponent's hand. I nominate this, let's say it attacks, destroys a particular opponent's card. I then, oh, before I do that I should have transunioned. I'm very naughty. But I can't transunion because I don't have a card. That's annoying. So I'm going to do three cards from my stock. That allows me to draw a card. There you go, that's what I wanted. So I put that into play, and then I can do my transunion. I attack with this card, destroying a gate and powering up this. Now this one says, if you have one or more destroyed gates on the circle that this card occupies, oh, that's a point, this actually occupies 2 gates. I would have had to do a load of jiggery pokery, moving things around. So if this is on a gate that is destroyed, it gets 2,000 power. It gets 2,000 from here, so it's currently on 11,000. And then I can give it another 2,000 by spending 3 cards from my stock, which I'll do. So it's on 13,000. And let's say my opponent decides to do an intercept. Now I'm not so keen on this intercept here. So let's have a look. So yeah, I decide to play this card. It costs me 1 card and it gives me +2 aura. I also decide to play this card, which gives me another +1 aura. So let's say I've now got 4 aura, and that's enough to win, destroy a gate. End of the battle. This card moves over and is now in effect until it gets discarded. Okay, so that's that go. Opponent goes, destroys my card, destroys this gate. Now this one says, when this gate is destroyed, you may put the top card from your deck into the stock zone and draw a card. Oh, that's nice. So there you go, another card in my stock zone, and draw another card. Now this is what I want, a nice powerful card here, and it's also the sparkly version that comes in the starter set. So I'm going to pop this card into my level zone. I've now got a level 3 ability. I'm going to play another Zoe to protect my gate here. Okay, so this is currently a 7,000 power Zoe because of the amount of cards in my stock zone. Now what I might decide to do is chuck this card out. Now although it's a transunion, I can actually deploy it without doing the union to give it what's known as soul, but it means I lose a lot of nice abilities. However, if I had 6 cards in my stock zone, that would be really nice. So I might want to keep that for a bit later. Let's see. Do I want to maybe play my tactics card here? So when this is placed in your battle zone from your hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, get 5,000 power and +1 limit. So yeah, maybe I attack with this, play my tactics, paying the cost. Maybe someone plays something, so I decide, well, actually, I'm actually going to, currently I'm losing on aura, so let's play this aura card here. So I'm now winning on aura because I played the intercept, and to do that I probably need to tap down a card. Let's say my opponent then plays another paradox card. Well, 2 paradoxes can't exist at once, so this card gets flipped down and effectively gets discarded. Let's say they then realise they can't actually play any more cards. They play another card to boost up their power. So maybe I tap a card, spend 3 and draw a card. I've now got to play a card, and luckily I've drawn a Chloe. I play that, I'm plus 5,000 power, I win the combat, destroy. Then that leaves this last card here, and maybe I attack with it, try and destroy their last gate. Let's say that nothing happens there, I kind of bounce off. They come at me, they can't get through this Chloe, so that they're a bit stuck. I untap, I draw my 2 cards. I could choose to put something into my level zone. I decide I'm not going to. I'm going to basically deploy... Actually, unless I do put something in my level zone, because that'd be better. I then deploy a dagger, and I transunion it with this Zoe here. Chloe, I keep saying Zoe, it's very annoying. Chloe here, and that gets me my 4 strength guy out. Here you go, she's pretty beastly. And let's say I choose to attack with that. So that's 10, 11, 12,000, destroy their blocker, and then in for the win. So as you can see, I played that very fast and loose, but I think that's sort of how the game goes. It's a pretty beastly game where you can power up quite quickly and smash into enemies, destroying them. But as you can see, there's a lot of thinking, like do I play this card as an actual card? Do I chuck it into my level area? Do I burn the 3 cards in my stock to draw a card? Do I, keep the 3 cards to actually do a logic definition? There's all sorts of little things, and then there's what cards do I want here? As you can see, some of them gave me lots of nice stuff. So I think it's a pretty interesting game. I quite enjoy it. I'm looking forward to having a few more games. I haven't really had too many, but I'm liking what I've seen so far. And of course, it's got this typical anime style, which you kind of love or loathe. I like the sparkly rares. I just wish the patterns were a little bit better. The pattern that comes on the rares would be great on an uncommon, but the pattern that's on this special card that came in the starter deck is more like what I'd expect for a rare to differentiate it from just regular foiled cards. Anime itself is pretty good, and if you've seen my unboxing, there's some nice mix of cards, and I like the kind of signed chase cards and stuff like that. And it's a reasonably cheap game to get into. I can see it being quite popular. The problem is it's by Buddy Fight, so a lot of people are probably going to be wanting to play Vanguard. But I prefer this. It's proper playing cards rather than the slightly more kind of small Yu-Gi-Oh sized ones. So yeah, it's a pretty good game. I've decided to get into it. I did sort of stop collecting collectible card games, but I do like the trading ability you get with like rares and uncommons, which you just don't get with living card games. So I'm actually thinking maybe they're not so bad after all, having spent a lot of time playing Magic back in the day. Just to give you an idea, I stopped playing by the time 5th edition of Magic came out. So do I recommend this game to you? Well, if you like a tactical game that's not too expensive to get into and you don't mind the art style, I think this video is probably giving you enough of an idea of how it sort of plays. Now, obviously, this is kind of going to be under 15-minute video, so it's very rough and ready. The lights go in here as well, so the quality might not be quite as nice as I'd like it to be. But, I think you've got enough information there to make your choice. And, the starter decks, I think, are less than £20 each and seem decent. And a box of boosters, about £50, I think. And if you were to buy 3 of those, you'd pretty much have enough of every single card to have a decent play set, in my opinion. Now, obviously, you wouldn't have enough to have absolutely everything. I do recall watching a video on YouTube where someone, I think, bought 10 boosters, and by buying 10 booster boxes, just to be clear, they were able to get, I think, 2 play sets with just a couple of cards missing. So, if you buy yourself a crate of boosters, you're definitely sorted. But you're going a bit crazy there. That's a huge amount of money to be invested. But then again, some of these cards, not this one, but some of these cards are going for like 20, 30 quid at the moment for the kind of chase rares. So, if you get one of those, potentially it's pretty much paid for your booster box by itself. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. Hopefully that's given you a rough idea. Hopefully I haven't made too many mistakes. I'm bound to have forgotten something because I just dashed home from work and decided to get this filmed, because this is actually about the 3rd time I've tried to film this video, and due to accidentally deleting the files, I've had to reshoot it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully that's given you enough of a flavour to make up your mind whether this is a game you want to try out. Anyway, till the next video, take care and have some great games.